On the quiet night of October 11th, 1973, two ordinary shipyard workers drove to the edge of the Pascagoula River in Mississippi, hoping to relax after a long day at work. What happened next would become one of the most chilling and well-documented alien abduction cases in American history. Within minutes of arriving, both men would claim they were taken aboard a strange craft by beings unlike anything they had ever seen. And even more disturbing, investigators would later capture their private conversation when they believed they were completely alone. The two men were Charles Hickson, age 42, and Calvin Parker, just 19 years old. They were co-workers at a local shipyard and, by all accounts, ordinary men with no history of seeking attention. That evening, they parked near an old pier along the Pascagoula River, planning to do a little night fishing. The area was quiet, the air was still, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. At least, not yet. As the men prepared their fishing gear, a strange whirring or buzzing sound suddenly filled the air. Both men later described it as mechanical, something unnatural that did not belong in the quiet Mississippi night. When they turned toward the noise, they saw something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. A glowing, oval-shaped craft was descending silently nearby, hovering just above the ground. Then came the part that made the story truly terrifying. According to both Hickson and Parker, three strange humanoid figures emerged from the craft. They were roughly human-sized, but moved in a stiff, mechanical way. Their skin appeared pale and wrinkled, and where their eyes should have been, there were glowing slits. The creatures floated toward the men without making a sound. Parker later said he was so overwhelmed with fear that he nearly passed out. The men claimed they were somehow paralyzed, unable to move or resist, as the beings brought them aboard the craft. Inside, Hickson reported being examined by what he described as a large mechanical eye, a scanning device that moved around his body. The experience felt clinical, cold, and completely beyond human technology. Minutes later, just as suddenly as it began, the men found themselves back on the riverbank. The craft was gone. Shaken and desperate, Hickson and Parker reported the incident to the local sheriff's office. At first, investigators suspected a hoax. But what happened next changed everything. Detectives secretly left the two men alone in an interview room with a hidden tape recorder running. Believing they were not being watched, the men spoke privately. Instead of laughing or contradicting each other, they sounded terrified. Parker could be heard breathing heavily and saying he was still scared. Hickson tried to calm him down, but his own voice trembled. To many investigators, the fear in that recording was disturbingly genuine. In the years that followed, both men stood by their story. Polygraph tests suggested they were telling the truth. Neither man ever became wealthy or famous from the encounter. In fact, Calvin Parker largely avoided the spotlight for decades, saying the experience traumatized him deeply. To this day, the Pascagoula abduction remains one of the most compelling and debated UFO encounters in American history. Were Hickson and Parker the victims of a genuine extraterrestrial encounter? Or did something else happen on that quiet Mississippi riverbank in 1973? The truth, even now, remains just out of reach. If you enjoy real American mysteries and unexplained encounters, subscribe to Forgotten American Tales and stay tuned, because some stories refuse to be forgotten.